Alrighty, well, what's going on, everyone? A very, very, very happy Monday evening, and welcome back to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. My name is Justin. It is a beautiful Monday evening time. Hopefully, everyone could hear me as well. If you guys are tuning in, stopping by, please let me know how you guys are hearing this. It's been a couple weeks. It is May 22nd, 2023. With that being said, I want to go on and, honestly, I want to give you guys, the fans, the audience, a sincere apology for the absence for my appearance the last couple of weeks. The last show I actually did was on May the 8th, I believe, which was a Monday. It was about 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to tell you this. I think a good friend of mine over there at the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast, who just uploaded a new episode not too long ago, and they've been really busy the last couple of weeks, which is exciting because they got a lot of content, a lot of wrestling content. And I tell you that if you guys are interested in learning, you guys are interested in listening to full-on wrestling conversations, check out Armchair Booking, Steve and Dwaylen out there. So, life happens, and I wasn't expecting to be gone for, a couple weeks, but I needed to take a mental, personal break with everything that's going on. Oh my. Okay. Well, it is 8:00 where I'm at. Monday Night Raw just started here. And Cody Rhodes was entering the building while Brock Lesnar decides to attack him out of nowhere. They open up Raw this way, and a spitting image of what we saw, I think what I've seen about, about 20 years? Not 20 years. I think that's too much. 17 years ago, where Brock Lesnar ended up throwing a keg into Cody Rhodes' arm, who his arm was up against the sliding gate that they have. Reminded me instantly of the Undertaker, where Brock Lesnar did the same thing to Undertaker to a cage, and that led into a feud where they used a cast and whatnot. That's very interesting. Anyways, we're live here, but we got Raw on in the background, and we'll definitely talk about Raw as the next 2 hours progress. But we got to cover up on sports. And like I mentioned, I apologize for the absence over the last few weeks, because I think a mental breakdown, recoup, rejuvenate myself, to come on here. There was just a lot of energy that wasn't felt to coming on here. So I think I needed a break. It feels good. It feels good to get back out here, and I'm excited to get back out here. So let me start off the show tonight by asking you guys, what do you guys want to talk about? I have a list of handful of things that we could talk about. We have the Reds and the Cardinals that are getting underway just now, or about an hour and 20 minutes ago. We have Game 4 of the NBA Western Conference between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Broncos that will begin at 8:30, and we'll cover, I think, a lot of that here early on. But then we have Stanley Cup playoffs, as Carolina is on the road. They're down 0-2 in the series against Florida, and that's just getting underway. tonight. So we got some sports going on tonight. So this is it's been a couple weeks. I have a couple of different directions that I want to go down, and maybe a score update with you guys on where things are at. If I could pull it up here real quick. As of right now, score update wise, for the Cincinnati Reds, they are currently leading the St. Louis Cardinals, which they began a 4-game series tonight. 4-3, they're in the top of the 5th inning. And boy, I gotta tell you, it was a tough pill to swallow, dropping a series to the New York Yankees. And I would honestly to say that the Reds, they've been dropping in the last couple of series. They've won 1 of the last 7. So my thing is that the last 2 weeks, I felt that the Reds have been playing 500 baseball. And last weekend, when the Yankees came into town, and although it wasn't a sight to remember or to be joyful about, I still believe it was an exciting time, right? To come out and to have those, what you want to call it, to have the fans come out. It was a good crowd. I felt it was a really good crowd. City Connect uniforms, which I think were amazing. I really enjoyed them. So I feel like it was a really well weekend to say, in Cincinnati. And a matter of fact, yesterday, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, the Street Profits, showed up. And a matter of fact, this is what they were actually doing an interview. So I actually took this opening segment here and wanted to give us what they talked about and everything. So here's the 3.5-minute interview that Peacock did yesterday with Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford.
Benson swings and misses to start the 5th inning, and you never know who Ahmed Fareed's going to bump into walking around the ballpark. Ahmed?
Brendan, cooler by association. We are with the Street Profits, 3-time WWE Tag Team Champions. Angelo Dawkins, Montez is with me, Montez Ford. So, this is old hat for you, Angelo. You're a Reds fan. You've been here plenty of times.
Exactly, man. I remember coming here a lot as a kid, and it's cool to be here and be able to throw out the first pitch, you know what I'm saying? Got it across the plate, down the middle, strike, you know what I'm saying? I'll be throwing nothing but strikes. That's how we roll. But no, man, that's good to be back home in Cincy, though.
I mean, let's just note that the coaching before the pitch was done by yours.
I was about to ask, okay? You saw his first pitch, Montez. Give me a little bit of a critique on how Angelo did. Give me your thoughts.
I'm very proud of his accomplishments.
Look at that form.
As you can tell, it was a line drive right
there.
It was a lot of practice before this pitch, and I'm very proud with his efforts. And as you can know, he's a champion. And speaking of champions, this weekend, Saturday, live on NBC and Peacock.
Oh, yeah.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Night of Champions.
Night of Champions.
And you need to tune in. If you don't have a subscription, what are you doing?
Go on and get it. Go on and get it. Go on and tune in.
So if Gordon and I were to show up in Saudi Arabia, all right, how would you plan to defeat the two?
Well, Benson swings and misses.
Which is the runaway. We're really afraid of you guys.
Yep.
Just don't.
I'll turn the other way.
Respect.
Don't hurt us.
Hey, we want the smoke. We want the smoke, but not with you guys. You know what I'm saying? We don't want the smoke with you guys.
Don't let our hair intimidate you guys, okay?
Very strong and fierce,
I'm going to be honest with you. These guys, Brendan, we've been watching them the past couple innings here. They're nonstop taking pictures, selfies. The fans are gravitating to the WWE superstars. How do you guys like that?
Oh, man, that's fun, especially to be in the hometown of Cincinnati, the great city in Cincinnati, and all the fans show love and, show them appreciation that they're big fans of us, and we want to give it back to them, you know what I'm saying? Take pictures, sign autographs, kick it with the homies, you know what I'm saying? They are part of the fam, too, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, every fan here is a part of the fam.
Yes, the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, actually. That's in our future, okay? We are being known to be in, as you can tell, thank you guys, We've been known to be the greatest tag team of all time, and as you can see, there's no other tag teams here throwing the first pitch.
Right.
You know, this is our second first pitch in the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
Cubs game, now the Reds game.
Yes, sir.
Don't see anybody else doing
Making history around here. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Prophets do. We make history. You know what I'm saying?
All right, guys. Well, this interview has been good for my ego. I know that my hair now intimidates some people. It has not been good for the Reds, though. A couple of strikeouts here in the first couple batters of this inning. So, Brendan,
Alrighty. Well, I mean, that kind of concludes and wraps up the fun fairy tale. I just think it is pretty cool when you get talent, right? You could get cross worlds, right? When NFL players going out to support the local the baseball team, baseball supporting hockey and basketball, then wrestling. Wrestling is a universal world out there, and just to be able to show that, hey, they came down and they supported the Reds, and they threw out the first pitch and took part in the festivities of City Connect weekend for the Cincinnati Reds, although they did lose and they got swept by the New York Yankees. And we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that here tonight. Want to talk about Raw, which is currently going on as we speak. As I mentioned to you at the beginning of the program, we had Brock Lesnar ambushing Cody Rhodes as he was entering the building. Ended up taking out his left arm with throwing a keg at it, smashing it with a keg that was up against one of those spirals. And I guess right now we're going to see, tonight, hey, we have a couple of things going on tonight. And one of the, things that we're looking forward to is, seeing Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus signing their contract, as well as seeing who the mystery partner is that will be teaming up with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn tonight to take on Imperium in a 6-man tag match. Now, right now, there's Matt Riddle, but there could be some, I don't know. Is it Matt Riddle? I mean, am I even satisfied with Matt Riddle? I don't know. I'll talk more about that. We're just getting started here on the Monday evening. I know it's a definitely much later time frame from us doing anything, but we're gonna have fun. It's been a couple of weeks. I feel bad. I apologize, like I said, tremendously to everyone who was anticipating, coming in and doing a show on a daily basis. But, all I got to say is, I'm back, and hopefully things go well moving forward. And, I'll do my best to give you day-by-day content. All right. So, the Cincinnati Bengals schedule was out. So we'll definitely talk about that. We got 2 hours. So I don't know where it's going to lead us. We're going to take our first time out, and I got a direction I kind of want to go into based off of the hour that I got started with. All right, so if you guys are tuning us in over on our YouTube page, I want to welcome you guys in. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to hit those notifications on. Don't miss a single episode of the program. If you guys are tuning us in on our Facebook page or Twitter page, we thank you. We welcome you. We invite you to hit that like button, share with a friend, and all that fun stuff. And then, you want to get into the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say about these topics and these stories. Tune us in. Hey, head on over to our YouTube page and check us out, and leave comments down below. Definitely read them on our program this evening. And if you guys are listening to audio platforms, hey, thank you so much. Without you guys, none of this is possible. All right, let's take the first time out of the day. When we come on back, we'll get you a little bit of NBA, get you guys ready for the Lakers and Nuggets game forward tonight. You guys are listening to The Throwing here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away, this is what we waited for.
Alrighty, welcome back here with the throw-in. I hope everyone had themselves a nice weekend. I know I did. Went out to an amusement park just to walk around the other day. Kind of got sunburned. You kind of could tell all in the face. I'm burning pretty easily the last couple of days. Took the oldest out to practice on Sunday, and had was only like an hour and a half, and boy, my top of my knees kind of got pretty red there. So, man, it's gonna get hot. I'm not used to it. Got the AC running. Not gonna lie, not really big about that. All right, this hour of the program is given to you thanks to StreamYard Studio. StreamYard Studio is a proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, where you can create podcast videos, host virtual business meetings, and conduct interviews. Check out their free version today at StreamYard.com. Just getting back after a couple weeks, let's say about 2-3 weeks hiatus here, unfortunately. I want to apologize once again to everyone who tunes into the show and program. I look forward to every episode. Been away for a couple weeks, had to take a couple personal mental days and all that stuff. So I do apologize, but we're back at it. Hopefully, I'm trying to just figure out where things go with how, what is being placed. So kind of some updates. I know it's later in the evening, but hey, we got some Stanley Cup playoff going up tonight as the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Florida Panthers, just getting underway here a few moments ago. Florida is up 2-0 in the series as they are in the conference championship round. Yesterday, the Dallas Stars fell short to the Golden Knights 3-2 as Golden Knights extend their lead to 2-0. I believe they'll be playing tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So that's NHL for you. We also got some NBA going on. Last night, the Boston Celtics fell short to the Miami Heat, 128-102. Miami Heat jumps up to a 3-0 win over Boston. As tonight, in about just a few minutes, getting ready to tip off on ESPN, we have the Lakers, who are 0-3 against the Denver Nuggets, heading into Game 4 tonight. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one. If you've asked me, quite frankly, if if between these two matchups, who would you be more impressed with? Who would you be more surprised with? I would say more surprised of the Boston Celtics being down 3-0 against the Miami Heat. Boston's one of those teams who I feel like it has been there. I think one of the struggles that Boston has had for themselves has been I'm going to say they put themselves in this position. Just like the first two series of the playoffs for them, they have put themselves in the positions to take it to Game 7 when they didn't need to. And I feel like that's the downfall for the Boston Celtics. Is that, like I said, they put themselves in the position to go to Game 7. They put themselves in the position to be down 3-0 against Miami Heat. And I really don't personally believe nor feel like this should be the scenario. So I'm a bit surprised to see Boston down 0-3 against Miami. Now, if it's, between the Lakers and the Celtics, though, if you have to ask yourself or put money on, in this betting world, who could prevail another day, who lives to fight another day, I'd still always put my money on the Boston Celtics because they're a team, now there's no room for error. Tomorrow night, with Boston, takes on Miami, there's no margin for error. That leads that, down into the night, I was talking to a few people earlier today. I was like, man, you know what? The Lakers are not really doing so good. You know, it was interesting because I hear it all the time on SportsCenter and ESPN and all these talk shows is that there are high expectations when you talk about a NBA team, right? Every year, it's a do or die moment. It's either you put in all your chips. You know, it feels like every team has put their chips into the pot and said, "Hey, go on and win a matchup, or go on and win us a championship." And if you don't win us a championship, well, guess what? We're going to fire you. We're going to let you go. We're going to trade you. And you're not going to, you know, there's no room for building a franchise these days anymore. I feel like if it's in NBA, it's either you're good or you're not. And the way that you're good is because you are you won the NBA playoffs. And for the Lakers, everyone's calling it that, you know, this is the last year. And so be it. There is a very, very good possibility that the Lakers, you know, that this is the last chance last year that the Lakers have to be able to make something happen. And they currently sit tonight, you know, down 3-0 against the Denver Nuggets. But are we not impressed the way that the Lakers have played? I don't believe that the Lakers were expected to get by Golden State, nonetheless, you know, to get by in the first round. So, I mean, where I sit at, I mean, I'm not no diehard Laker fan, but I'm satisfied with the Lakers season. I'm satisfied with the position where they're at now. Would I like to see Los Angeles go and make it interesting and maybe come back and win a game or two? Absolutely. But I think, you know, just finishing off the way they finish off now I think should be a promising note compared to what happened last season. And you want to go in and, you know, I think we could put 2020 behind us, how, you know, they had that long rest and, you know, they go on to win the championship off season really. And, you know, we're building up to it. Now listen, you know, I get it. I think I just find it interesting how NBA teams and franchises get judged, and they get judged because based off of, you know, it's either you win now or you don't win. You know, everyone is saying, "Oh, you're a terrible player," or "You're the world's greatest player." You know, last year we were talking nothing about Giannis and how he was probably one of the greater players of all times. You know, we're talking about, you know, LeBron James, how he has to control this team with the Lakers. You know, injuries prevailed. Anthony Davis, what are we doing with Russell Westbrook? I mean, people last year on social media was up to the end saying, how can you go establish this amazing team and yet you guys can't go win a ball game, right? I mean, I knock on, you know, my table for this instance, but kind of images, you know, it's just like, I think I relate to every sport. Basketball to baseball, baseball to football. You can go have all the stars and the bells and the whistles that you could go out there and possibly find, but that doesn't guarantee you a championship. Now, you know, I think, you know, the time, you know, I think if you're a Laker fan, you're going to sit there and say, yeah, we won a championship and we shouldn't settle nothing for less. And there's going to be off-season conversation. What is LeBron James going to do after this year? Right? What, you know, he's getting older. Well, I mean, yeah, of course he's getting older. I don't expect LeBron James to play like Tom Brady, running up and down the field, night in and night out. You know, there's a lot of conversation. Excuse me. There's a lot of conversation in NBA about players not playing hardest, not playing to the full potential. But there's a strategy that NBA franchises have taken over the last few years, several years, as a matter of fact, that is definitely different than how you played back in the 80s and 90s. And One thing that I've noticed, because I don't necessarily go into great detail about the NBA and the statistics and what I've seen, but one thing that I have noticed a lot, the difference between the regular season and the playoffs is that you will normally see maybe 20, 25, possibly even 30 minutes of playing time when it comes down to a lot of these athletes. You get to playoff season, you're doubling them instantly. So I don't know. I'm satisfied if the Lakers lose tonight. Yeah, it's disappointing that they couldn't live to fight another day, but I'm satisfied with how the Lakers are and where they finished off, because I don't think anyone expected them to finish off in the semifinals, nonetheless to make it past the first round in the NBA playoffs. I will save those what if moments for after the season about the future of the team. But I think it's pretty interesting. And I tell you, they're in LA, right? They're playing at Crypto. And I get it. They're down 0-3, but I still think that they have an opportunity. As for the Celtics, I'll put it this way. As for the Celtics, I still think that they can be a team. I still put my bottom dollar on. All right, they're a team that can come in and kind of give Miami heat. But like I mentioned, they've taken the first two series to Game 7, which they probably should have closed out the series ahead of time. And it was simple mistakes that kind of got them stuck. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see what tonight is. We'll come back tomorrow. And I don't know. Okay, ask me real quick who I think is going to win. I'm going to go. Let me pick the Lakers in this sense. Want to go ahead and give out our congratulations, first of the nights. Congratulations to the Cincinnati Cyclones, who wrapped up their season a couple weeks ago after they they got swept by the Toledo Walleyes 4-0 in the I want to say it was the Central Championships. Now Toledo will be playing on Wednesday. They're in a 7-game series in the Western Conference against Idaho. Idaho currently leads 2-0. They'll play Wednesday. Puck drops at 7:15. Tonight, Eastern Conference game going on right now as Florida currently leads the series against Newfoundland 2-0. They're on Newfoundland's on the road to Florida, so there'll be ECHL playoffs continue tonight. Let's take a break. Let's come on back. Let's talk to you, get you guys ready for this the Reds Cardinals series. Talked a little bit about it as the game progresses here this afternoon. Just getting warmed up here on a Monday. Thank you guys for tuning into the Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Looking back at the good times before it all went down. Climbed right up on the hillside, a different view of my life. You left me running on and on, but I don't care, would you let me Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm trying to get these ends. Build empires with my friends.
Cincinnati Reds are currently in a game right now, 5-4. They're leading over the St. Louis Cardinals in the midst of the sixth inning. Welcome back here to the throw-in. They begin in the 4-game series tonight at Grand America Ballpark. The Reds come in tonight's ball game 19-27, last place in the NL Central, as the St. Louis Cardinals are 21-27. So, man, it's a tough right now. If you're the Reds, you don't really want to be falling behind, and this is an opportunity that just things sit behind. It was a tough weekend. I mean, there was exciting things that happened this weekend, and so I didn't go to the game, and I tell you, I kind of wish I went to the game. Had a really good crowd. I think expected to have a good crowd when you have the Yankees come into town. I mean, but it was a tough series. If you're the Redlegs, and you guys, if you're Cincinnati, this was kind of a motivating weekend. I know it wasn't too great out on the road in Colorado, but it was one of those weekends where it could have done a lot. Last year we took 2 of 3, I believe, against New York. Thought things could have went. It could have went either way. New York, I give a lot of credit. They bounced back after a rough start. So much as their upcoming opponents in the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals, remember, they were down in last place 2 weeks ago when we had this when we talked last, did a program, and they've gone on to an 8-2 run over the last 10 games, or 21-27, 5 games back in first place in the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Cincinnati Reds right now, they have the second worst record in the National League, sitting at 19-27. They begin a 4-game series against the Cardinals. Tonight so far, Jordan Montgomery 2 for 6, 4.21 ERA. Brandon Williamson's coming up. Hasn't recorded a win or loss. He's come into play. 1.59 ERA, Great American Ballpark side. I mean, I thought it was, this is going to be exciting series, because I really feel like, the Reds have made some impressive changes. And so I'm excited to see what the Reds had over the weekend. The Cincinnati Reds got swept by the Yankees. The Cardinals took the series against the Dodgers at home 3-1. Tampa Bay took a 2-1 over a 3-game series against Milwaukee. Chicago Cubs lost 1-2 over Philadelphia, and then Arizona 2-1 over Pittsburgh. So other than St. Louis winning, all of the rest of the division has kind of been all over the place over the weekend. It's what keeps it's what keeps us invested in saying, all right, hey, here we can keep on doing this. So I'm, I don't know. Don't hit the panic button for me quite yet. I think that's what I say. Like I say, here's the schedule. Here's the standings as of today. Milwaukee 25-21 entering today. Pittsburgh is 24-22. St. Louis Cardinals bumped up to 21-27. Chicago 20-26. 5 games out of first, and then 6 games out of first is the Cincinnati Reds, who's been on a 4-6 stretch the last 10 games. Coming up here this series tonight, we currently have one other divisional game going on, and that will be the Texas Rangers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And currently, right now in that game, Pittsburgh is leading 6-1 in the top of the 8th inning. And after 6, the Reds right now are out front 5-4. So hopefully, we're looking for a nice, fun series, 4-game series that will take us through the week before the weekend begins. something that we probably want to address here. All right, we noticed that there has been change, but something particularly happened last on Friday night. The Yankee series was fun. First of all, Aaron Boone comes back into town. It's been a while. Second of all, we get to see, I believe, I like it when a manager is fighting for things for his team. And right now, hopefully, I know that the Yankee series didn't go quite well, but I hope that this is a motivation standpoint after Bell gets ejected Friday night. And he gets ejected because of the Yankees pitcher, Clark Smith. All right. Clark Smith apparently goes out in the 5th inning. New York is leading 1-0. Third base umpire, Nestor Sija. I apologize if I butchered his last name. Sija, I believe. He checked Smith's hand for foreign substance. And it appeared that something was on the back of his wrist of his left glove hand. The 4 umpires get together, convened, and basically sent Smith down to the clubhouse to wash his hands. Crew chief Brian Onora said, and after the game, Sija noticed something a little sticky, a little tacky. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't dark like pine tar. It was that fuzz from inside the part of the glove, he thinks. As a crew, we told him to go wash it off. He washed it off. Nothing was on his hands. It wasn't sticky and it wasn't foreign substance. Then afterwards, they allow Smith to pitch after they redeemed it was clean. Bell emerged from the Reds dugout to argue for several minutes and was ejected from the game for the second time this season, 22nd of his managing career. According to Arnora, David was upset that we made him clean it off and not eject him. He tried to explain the situation, but Bell kept on going. He told him it was enough, and then he had no choice to eject him. Routine checks for sticky substance have been a part of MLB protocol since 2021, and then recent weeks these have not always been routine situations for Yankees pitchers. On Tuesday in Toronto, starter Domingo Germain was ejected for later suspended for 10 games after a sticky residue was found on his palm. In April 15th, earlier, the Minnesota Twins, Germain was twice flagged for having too much rosin on his hand. We've seen this throughout the year. And first of all, this is an article that was posted on May 20th by Mark Sheldon. You can read into the details of this. But basically, I want to hear from you guys. Was this a good call? I am by all means in favor for what has happened here. I think this year has really been a year that, I don't know if honestly, if we, people, the umpires are not caring, maybe they're backing off. I don't know. But, it seems like either certain umpires are all on top of these, substances on pitchers, or they're not. And this was an incident that, the umpires, did they make the right call by saying, okay, Smith, go wash off your hands, come back out and pitch? And and you know what? I've had gloves before. I've held gloves. I don't know. There's a combination of sweat and, the rosin and all that stuff that, on a hot day, it was, well into the mid 70s, high, low 80s. There's a chance that, with the sweat after a couple innings, you're going to build something. But I guess, the thing is that is a umpire call, and David Bell wasn't happy. And, maybe it was something to fight for his players, or maybe it's something, like you said, to light a little candle under their asses to kind of build up and say, all right, hey, listen, I'm fighting for you. You guys got to go out there and play. Because I tell you right now, the Reds are kind of frustrating when it comes down to playing some baseball. Talking about that, we'll talk all about that coming up next. Take you to the bottom of the hour right here on the Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, bottom half of hour number one is coming your way. We got to talk about this, you guys. Cincinnati Reds. All right. They're officially through the first quarter of the season. They're 19-27. What do you guys think so far? Are the Reds something to get behind on or anything like that? Or are we giving up on the season already? I mean, they're starting to make some changes. And we got to talk all about that, and we will. Bottom half of the hour coming up here after this quick break. All right, let's get into this conversation. First quarter of the baseball season for the Reds conclude, and 19-27. Well, first of all, let's say that the Cincinnati Reds have done better than they were a year ago, because I mean, the Reds were barely at 10 wins a year ago. They had the terrible month of April. Uh, they honestly played about 500 baseball since then. But then, you come out this year, and we know that the expectations were much different, and we have to expect that. Um, we also need to still remind us that this is a building team, and there was definitely some frustrating moments this year so far in the first quarter that I guess for me didn't quite sit well. So a lot of people in this case is asking, okay, so how long are we taking? Because we have a bunch of young guys expected to be called up throughout the course of this year. That's what the overall game plan is. But then but then how long is that timetable? Is really the true question. We've seen a handful. We've seen Jason Valsler get released. We've seen Luis Cessa is getting released. We've seen prior to injury. Let's first answer the first question. Joey Votto, who we have not seen at all this season. And I'm a bit bummed. I'm a bit disappointed because we don't know what his status is next year. Now, I appreciate him. He's not going to rush back. He's not going to take up a slot in the roster. But I would like to see him at some point this year make his way back. Now, if you're asking me an honest opinion, a fan opinionated, criteria about the status of Joey Votto, I will sit here and tell you that I'd recommend, if he's not back by the All-Star break, all right, that gives you another 2.5 months or a month and a half, in the sense, a month and a half. If he's not back by the All-Star break, then I say maybe, just maybe, it's time to cut ties and say, hey, it's nice having you for the last night, however many seasons. It's time for you to hang up the boots, and just let it go. Because right now, what I'm seeing is the Reds develop. All right, I'm finding new life in Nick Senzel at third base. I'm seeing Spencer Steer. He's not the best, at first base, but he's trying. So is Tyler Stevenson. So is Will Myers. So, I'm seeing the Reds work around, and it hasn't been easy. I mean, right? It hasn't been easy. To kick off the season, it was the bullpen, right? And then it became, once the bullpen, you thought bullpen kind of figured itself around the offensive power. And then on top of that, we're seeing, what do you want to say? The starting rotation. So I feel like this is the endless cycle. Right now, today, if you're asking me where the Reds are struggling, I will tell you that the Reds are struggling offensive power. I mean, I was looking through the numbers, before tonight's program, in comparison over everything that, over the Yankee series. And honestly, you expect a rotation to give up 4 to 5 runs. I mean, let me pull it off here again. Here. The Yankee series alone, Ben Lively went 5 2/3 of an inning, giving up 7 hits, only allowing 2 runs to score in his outing. He gave up 1 home run, walked 1, 8 strikeouts. So you're telling me the other 4 runs were given up by the bullpen. Okay. But the Reds only scored in 2 runs. They had 6 hits, no home runs, 8 total bases, 1 error. All right, let's get down to the next one. Saturday's game. Luke Weaver goes 4 1/3 of an inning, giving up 8 hits, giving up 4 runs. Isn't that not what's average? 2 home runs. He allowed 1 home run, but he struck out 4. So the other 3 runs was given by the pitchers, by the bullpen. And then game 3 on Sunday, Hunter Green went 7 innings. He gives up all 4 runs. And they used one other pitcher out of the bullpen. He was lights out and Herget, right? Struck out 10, walked 3, giving up 2 home runs. So they used a total of 10 pitchers over the weekend. Pitchers only gave up a total of 3 plus 4, that's 7 runs. That's all what Saturday gave. So that's 10 runs that the starting pitcher gave up. The Reds only scored 2 runs on Friday, 4 runs on Saturday, 1 run on Sunday. You would think of the type of ball game it would have been on Sunday if they were able to muster up some runs. I was sitting, I took my oldest to practice on Sunday, and I saw the game on Peacock. I tuned into a little bit. I had a family, one of my, daughter's, players, their family, mother and son, was sitting next to us. And as soon as they sat down, he was like, well, she was like, yeah, Gleyber Torres hit a home run. It was 3-1. You know what the son said? I want to say, wait, maybe 10 years old, maybe. It's like, well, the game's over with. We're in the 5th inning. The Yankees are up 3-1, and you got children who are, adamant Reds fans giving up on the Reds. Like, that can't be. Right now, we're struggling. Right? We're struggling, I think, offensive-wise. And, don't let tonight's line score fool you, because, we are struggling mustering in runs. I think right now the biggest key, while we're trying to change, is to see the run support given in. And I understand that we're seeing guys like Ben Lively. We're seeing Brandon Williamson, who's pitching tonight, and we'll talk about his outing tomorrow. But we're seeing these young guys get brought up, and they're holding their ground. Matt McClain just recently get brought up. We're still waiting for guys like Ellie De La Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand to get brought up also. But we're starting to make that progress, and with that progress also comes patience. And I understand the patience. But right now, it seems like we can never have all 3 categories on the click for, just being stable enough, which is, I think, is a bit frustrating as a Reds fan to have to deal with that. Bullpen, I think, has been, and everything has room to be better. I feel like the bullpen has been, decent. I feel like the rotation is getting worked. And when you have the rotation worked, you get the bullpen worked. They're asking to do, eat up more innings. And then, the lack of run support that's given by the offense. That's what hurts. First quarter is under the belt. The Reds begin a 4-game series against the Cardinals. Oh my, we got to get up on this series because, we haven't yet faced the Cardinals or the Brewers yet. So here we go. But man, we know that this was going to be a tough season. We knew how bad it was going to be. So why expect anything less? Our number 1's complete. And our number 2, Night of Champions, is coming your way this Saturday. We will talk to you about that. Get you ready for the match card. Things going on Raw tonight so far. I want to take a look at the first look for us on the Cincinnati Bearcats 2023 schedule. And I don't know. There's a lot of other things. Hour number 1's complete. Coming back, hour number 2. Thank you guys for tuning into the Throne here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, hour number 2 here on the program. Welcome on back. Thank you guys for tuning in to the throw-in. Monday Night Raw has been kind of pretty interesting. I told you at the beginning of the program, right when Raw kicked off, Brock Lesnar threw a keg at Cody Rhodes' left arm. And now, after an hour into the program, he is in a cast, brace, ice bandages, whatnot. But guess what? He looks all bruised up, but Brock Lesnar was like, oh, he comes out and he's like, oh, we're not going to fight Cody Rhodes at the Champions. And she issued an open challenge, and then basically Cody Rhodes is back. Now it looks like he's going to be in the come all lock. Oh, God. We'll see what happens. Oh, I'm just... We'll see what happens. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar are set to have a rematch from Backlash after Cody Rhodes beat Brock Lesnar. And we'll see what comes. It looks pretty banged up there, but we'll see all the interesting conversations here. And we'll talk about that more into detail on a later date. All right, welcome back here. Before we get to anything more deeper into conversations here, I got to talk to you guys about something. Been with good friends over with Terry and Enlighten Studios and corporations in the local area. They have upcoming festivals coming out that not only we want to invite you out to enjoy the festivities, but we want to invite you and open a volunteer service. Enlighten Studios works alongside with the vendors throughout these festivals this year, and they want to extend their volunteer slots to you guys. If you guys are wanting to, interact, enjoy the live music, the wonderful foods, and all of that fun stuff, you guys want to volunteer today and keep your tips. They got the Italian Festival, Taco Festival, Celtic Festival coming up in June and July. For more information, reach out, email enlightenstudios.cincy@gmail.com. That is enlightenstudios.cincy@gmail.com for more information. So we're working on seeing what we can do, broadcasting hopefully live from there. Want to go ahead and give a shout out. I had all my paperwork ready here. Give a shout out to college baseball here in the local areas as tournaments are about to begin tomorrow. We'll kick things off with the Cincinnati Bearcats, who fell short over the weekend. They picked up the Thursday victory win, but fell short Friday and Saturday to Houston. They finished off their regular season of play 24-31. They moved to conference play 10-14 with the 2-game losing streak. At home, they're playing 500 baseball at 13-13. On the road, they're 11-15. Neutral sites is 0-3. On Tuesday tomorrow, they'll play ranked number 4 UCF. Early game, 9 a.m. So in Clearwater, Florida. Cincinnati also, talking about Cincinnati Bearcats, they also announced last week a new apparel partnership, which will begin on July 1st, 2023, heading into the new conference play to the Big 12 beginning this season. Cincinnati Bearcats is the partnership will make BSN Sports the Bearcats exclusive provider of apparel, footwear, and other equipment needs, which will be highlighted by the outfitting of the teams in Jordan Brand and Nike. These deal places the Bearcats in an iconic brand as a launch into the Big 12 conference beginning this season. According to the athletic director, John Cunningham, this is a monumental moment for our more than 450 50 students / athletes and our entire athletic department. It was important for us to have the stability in our apparel provider for years to come and to have a partner solidified as we join the Big 12 this summer. To many of our fans, Jordan Brand represents the quintessential jerseys of one of the top stretches in the history of Cincinnati basketball, while Nike has proved to be the driving force in athletes' apparel innovation for decades. John mentioned he can't wait to have the swoosh and Jumpman logos join the CPAW marks once again. So there is an exciting time to move into apparel, BS, and sports that will begin here later on. Also, we'll stick with this. Xavier Musketeers also wrapped up their season, their regular game season over the weekend, where they dropped 2 against Georgetown, picking up a victory on Thursday, dropping Friday, dropping Saturday's game. They finished off the season 34-22, conference wise 14-7 home. They finished 10-9 on the road, 23-13. They're 1-0 on neutral sites. In the Big East Championship tournament, they'll play tomorrow Wednesday against number 3 Sinton Hall at 6:30 in Mason, Ohio. Other news going around, Carmelo Anthony was reported today that he is going to be announces his retirement after 19 NBA seasons. Anthony, known as one of the top scorers in league history, as he struggled in recent years and did not play this past season. Carmelo Anthony, a former Knicks star and one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, announces his retirement on Monday, calling a farewell after 19 seasons bittersweet. Anthony is 38 years old, last played in April 2022 as a reserve for the Los Angeles Lakers, and spent the final few seasons of his career more limited roles. He goes on to say, now the time has come for me to say goodbye to the court where I made my name, to the game that gave me purpose and pride. Anthony is said in a glossily produced video posted on social media networks on Monday. The video introduced career highlights with the song "All That I Got Is You" by Ghostface Killah, featuring Mary J. Blige in the background. So, congratulations to his career. You guys can check the video out on Twitter, on Carmelo Anthony's Twitter page. And there we go. Trying to just hear a little bit of what they are saying about Cody Rhodes here moving forward. All right. Well, listen, we got to talk about some WWE. I want to talk about some WWE. Okay. I want to know how. I want to kind of figure out how I'm going to plan on doing this. So, all right, let me ask you this right off the bat. Who should main event Night of Champions this Saturday? And so this is what I'm going to do. Let me give you this idea. Take Night of Champions. Let's explain how this is going to work. So they have Raw tonight. They taped SmackDown for Friday, which we're not going to get into the reveal or the spoilers. But on this Friday at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on Peacock, is going to be the press conference for Night of Champions. Now, obviously, we've seen a little bit about Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, and throughout the week as we get updates, as we get, information, we will definitely share them with you and talk about it. But there's a couple other matches. We'll go over them in a minute. On Saturday at high noon Eastern time on Peacock, it's going to be the Night of Champions kickoff, followed by a 1 p.m. start Eastern Standard Time. Now, here's how the matches are going to go down. We have the World Heavyweight Championship in AJ Styles, Seth Rollins. We have the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship, Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The Intercontinental Championship in Mustafa Ali and Gunther. Raw Women's Championship, Asuka taking on Bayley, WrestleMania rematch. Cody Rhodes taking on Brock Lesnar in a Backlash rematch. Becky Lynch taking on Trish Stratus as the contract signing is tonight. So, I know for a lot of people, you're like, it is what it is. But I do want to point out the obvious here. So call me Captain Obvious for a moment. But we saw Sammy and Kevin on SmackDown. And now I think we saw Paul Heyman earlier on Raw, if I'm not mistaken. So this whole brand split that they enforced, I'm going to say, is not enforced. I don't quite get that. And it kind of bothers me a little bit. But I just want to point that out. We're going to cut to a break. But I got to ask you guys. Main event. There's 3 matches that could be a main event. We'll talk about them after our upcoming break. You guys are listening to the Throw-In here in hour number 2 on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm. Physical silence, no need to speak a word, laying here beside me. Don't wanna move too fast, your lips on my flask, sipping on your love, sipping on your love.
Alrighty. Hour number 2 is given to you by Spreaker. Spreaker from iHeartRadio. You guys can check out all the episode audio platforms. If you miss anything here, go back, download us on audio platforms. Thanks to Spreaker. Spreaker provides you you can upload your podcast to Spreaker.com and be able to distribute it across all major platforms. All right, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. See the analytics and be able to monetize your podcast. Check out Spreaker.com for more information. Also by Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. I got to talk about the what do we think the main event matches will be coming up here right after this quick ad. Alrighty. Who should main event Night of Champions? Well, back at Backlash, we saw Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Now, there was a bit of a discussion that Damian Priest and Bad Bunny stole the show. And that they could have and probably should have main evented Backlash. But what I liked so much about what WWE did at Backlash and how they put it all together is that they gave Puerto Rico their fan favorite moment in the middle of the show. Now, I said this a couple weeks ago, and I'll testify. I believe that it would have went, it could have went perfectly either way. But I personally like Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar to finish off the show. Because what you end up doing was wrapping the show back to WWE. If you would have main evented Bad Bunny and you main evented Damian Priest in this matter, you kind of left it all out in Puerto Rico, taking nothing back at home. But you basically, you started off the show how you needed to start it off. You bring it to, you give the fans what they came to see and what they wanted to see. And then you bring it back to the storytelling of what WWE's been saying. So I really liked it. Now, Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, their story is long from done. And we're seeing more unfold here on Raw tonight, where everything that's Brock Lesnar's done and trying to get updates throughout the night. They're doing a lot. They're really sugarcoating the feud between Cody and Brock. I'll tell you that. And I like it. I mean, it keeps them away from that championship that needs to happen, right? So they make my list as one of the matches that could main event. But because of the main eventing Backlash, I think, in my opinion, they don't. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, if this match is still to happen in Saudi Arabia, which I don't believe why it can't, this should kick off the show. And after everything they're putting into it tonight, there shouldn't be no reason why it doesn't kick off the show. You want to kick off, it's like if you bought the WWE 2K video game and you're playing My GM, you want the hard-hitting match. And the hard-hitting match right now is that Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. And it was actually up until this moment, because I would honestly say a second match that could kick off the show, who could also main event the show, is the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions in Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And I say that because that could be a main event match. We haven't seen Roman Reigns really in action since WrestleMania, and the Tribal Chief. There's a lot of pieces going on. And if you're not main eventing, you could also start the show. Now, I mean, Paul Heyman said this the best several years ago, matter of fact, says, hey, if we're not going to main event and close out the show, you might as well start out the show. I personally believe that Cody and Brock should start the show off. Now, this leads me to this. The World Heavyweight Championship. The program is called Night of Champions, right? The World Heavyweight Championship should be on the line in the main event. Therefore, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins in the main event in Saudi Arabia to crown the new World Heavyweight Champion. If I was booking it, that's my main event because it goes with the title, the name of the show. Now, I can see the WWE throwing the Bloodline taking on Sammy and KO for the tag team titles. But I honestly feel like this storyline, which we'll get down a little bit more later throughout the week, but this storyline has now taken a step back. It's been for the first 3 months of the year, maybe 4 months of the year, it's been the front and center of WWE, and like there's no other feud that was possibly capable of being even as close to touching them as as big as they were. I'm going to say that they've taken a step back. And what I like is that you're highlighting a lot of talent. And that's what's great about this brand split. With that being said, I believe that this is a mid-card match. And it's going to be interesting because it will be interesting to see how they put this card together because Tribal Chief, you have the face of the company in Roman Reigns still. Not main eventing a premium live, which doesn't normally happen. But I just don't see how you can not have that World Heavyweight Championship be the main event. I would honestly, there's different directions I go. What I would honestly, after watching Raw, because I really thought maybe Cody and Brock could go after after the tag team match. But if you're really like, I don't know how that, like I said, we'll talk about this next week. But I would say throw the tag team titles match first, and then throw Cody and Brock. But at the same time, Cody and Brock is right now everything that's happening tonight on Raw, which I'm not going to spoil it. You got to go back and watch it. I've already talked enough about it. But everything that's happened so far, Cody and Brock should definitely lead things off. I'm actually convinced. I'm convinced that Cody and Brock should lead things off because because of the fact that everything that's taking place tonight on Raw. And this is the only thing I will tell you is that Brock ambushed Cody as he was entering the building to kick off Raw. Brock, it threw a keg at Cody's left arm that was up against the gate, the cage gate, which reminded me instantly of what happened with Brock and The Undertaker years ago. Brock comes out, says that with the damage that he caused Cody, he will not be facing him at Night of Champions. Therefore, an open challenge. Cody comes out and Brock continues his beatdown and continues to focus on that arm, and it's kind of been a chaotic scene on Raw. So if, like I said, if I'm booking the show, I'm booking Cody and Brock tonight. Like I said, it's over the tag team match. But I would also have the World Heavyweight Championship. That's just me. All right, so let's go down this list. And I'm not going to cover the entire list here. And this is the match card for Night of Champions. I'm not going to cover the entire match card. But we're talking about Solo and Roman and this tag team match. Now, this is all started because the Usos wanted one more chance, saying that, hey, you give me a title match at Night of Champions, and we will not let you guys down. Roman says, hey, the Bloodline's going to get another chance, but by the hands of us. We're going to take matters in our own hands, and both Roman and Solo is going to walk in there and walk out as champion. And now we see this tag team match. There's still more saltiness in the wound, I would so to speak. And it's a setup. Oh, wait. Let's set up and think what could potentially happen and take place at Night of Champions. You know, I said this about the Bloodline story. You know, if this, you know, it took them years to create and to rise to power. Didn't happen overnight. Took a couple years. Right? This whole long story. And now we're seeing the crack in the show like we saw at the beginning of the year back at the Royal Rumble, and vice versa, right? Moving forward. I like how they are slowly telling the story on the downhill spiral, because you can see the anger and the frustration in the Usos. You know, for first of all, letting Roman Reigns down, but they're starting, you could tell that they're starting to see how Roman is treating them, thanks to the week in and week out, nail biting, you know, just the pounding that Sami Zayn is giving them, you know, saying, hey, Roman doesn't care about you. And now, since Roman has taken that title opportunity away from the Usos, and you see the frustration, is why is it not them? You know, last week they came out and they interfered into business that Roman apparently directly said that they shouldn't interfere in. And you saw Roman get frustrated. Like, it reminds me of, you know, when a father gets angry and yells at his kid. You know, it wasn't, you know, it was like that deep angered voice. And, you know, you could definitely tell. And, you know, I think, you know, you start seeing the signs of what's to come. And what's interesting is that they're making you remain patient. And you ask yourself, heading into this week, heading into Saudi Arabia this Saturday, just what is going to happen at Saudi Arabia. There's a lot, you know, there's rumors out there right now that this is Roman. This is the Usos are going to come out and cost them the titles. And that could very well be so. But there's a lot of turmoil. And I'm going to go back around to saying this. Let's not rush. As a matter of fact, if we could wait it out, I would love to see a lot of this go forth and go down to even, not even SummerSlam, but to Survivor Series. My opinion. But a lot of turmoil there. We have a lot more to talk about when it comes down to Night of Champions and the match card that is set to be placed. Because we see Asuka and Bianca Belair WrestleMania rematch. We'll see Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. We'll see Mustafa Ali take on Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. So we don't worry. We got plenty of stuff to talk about here. But bottom of the hour, I want to get into the Cincinnati Bengals. It's been a couple weeks. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's been a long time since we got into some football talk. And, it was May 8th. I was doing a show. I was getting excited because I heard that, that the NFL schedule was being released. And I wanted to talk about it. I was going to bring you coverage and talk a lot about the upcoming schedule. And I decided that I was going to take a little hiatus break on a mental, personal note. So I have the schedule here, and I was kind of going through at it today, and I was reading a couple of articles, and I found a couple of things interesting. But, I heard articles kind of nitpicking and complaining. So let's take our first look here at the bottom of the hour of the Cincinnati Bengals schedule for 2023. And let's kind of just go over and see what we think and kind of share some thoughts and ideas. Bottom of the hour of the program is coming up. You guys are listening to The Throne here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. What's going on, everyone? Justin here from the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to you, the listeners. That's right. Without you guys, none of this is possible. I would also like to take the time and invite you out to our merchandise page, thanks to T Public. Our merchandise page is where you can find all of our brandings from the Throne, which is currently active weekly, to the TNC Sports Talk official brands, to either the prior shows that was part of the TNC Sports Talk Foundation. Now, within all the brandings, you can select T-shirts for both men and female sizes, apparel such as hoodies, kids onesies, kids T-shirts, phone cases, notebooks, coffee mugs. They have a vast majority. This is why I love T Public. And right now, if you spend $80 or more, you get free shipping. And so we want to invite you out to our merchandise page by heading on over to tpublic.com/user/TNC-sports-talk, or even using the QR code up in the right-hand corner. We want to thank you guys again, the listeners, for supporting us, and we hope to see you guys out wearing our merchandise. Alrighty, welcome on back here to the throw-in bottom half of hour number 2 coming up, and I got to tell you, it's been a while. Couple weeks definitely being out of the program, kind of getting back into the swing of things. I tried out a new couple of commercial break concepts that, for me, I guess it didn't quite work out as well as I hoped, as I planned. So, I'm not gonna get too much into that. Change it back returning up. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon. I got a lot of things I gotta do. Be running around all day, so I'm gonna, as soon as I hop off on this show, upload it to Spreaker and just start getting ready for tomorrow's program. Now, tomorrow night, did a different direction, and like I said, I'm finding myself back into the swing of mix. So I appreciate your guys' patience if the first couple of days doesn't come out as we plan, as we want to, but moving forward here and how things go. So the Cincinnati Bengals regular season schedule was released. They're going to have 3 pregame. They have 3 preseason games. The first game is going to be against the Green Bay Packers, then in Atlanta, and then in Washington. Now, okay, so I don't know if there was an error in this. Okay, but when I looked at the schedule for game 3 of the when I looked at the schedule for game 3 of the preseason, we saw the Washington Commanders. It's a Saturday night game, but they said this game is being played at 1 a.m. I don't know if that was an error or what. So I'm just I guess I'm a little at loss to see what's to come of it. So but let's take a look at this, because it's kind of interesting to look here. Okay. Now, I was reading an article on SB Nation about how this isn't the toughest schedule of them all, but the time in between breaks is probably the most rough schedule to have. So I'm gonna look into this, and I was like, all right, what are we talking about? So we have to remember, I think, a few things when it comes down to the Cincinnati Bengals. And the first thing that I need people to remember is we wanted this, no? I mean, aren't we not a team, a championship team like we have proclaimed we are going to be? I mean, I look at the schedule, and let me look with me here. I'm looking at the schedule, and we kick things off against Cleveland, and then home to Baltimore, and then we're going to go on and take on. The other 3 weeks, I don't know how Tennessee's going to be. I don't know how Arizona's going to be. I feel like Los Angeles, I don't know how they're going to be yet. I can't predict that. I'm looking at Seattle Seahawks, maybe a challenge. Tennessee could be a challenge. The Rams, but they were at home. The first 7 weeks, I don't see a problem. San Francisco has their issues with quarterbacks, so that could be an issue. We don't know about that. The first true test, in my ultimate belief, is going to be September 17th against Baltimore. And then, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have a Monday Night Football game against the Los Angeles Rams. And then when we're in San Francisco on the October 29th, okay, and then we have a Sunday night game on November 5th, back-to-back tough games, okay. Houston, I don't think of anything. In Baltimore, against Pittsburgh, okay. Jacksonville, okay. Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cleveland, all right. I don't know what we're talking about here. Tough schedule? No. Are there going to be some good games? Of course. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule here on my end. Okay. And just look at this for a quick second. So let me see what I'm thinking. I see two back-to-back division games. I see back-to-back in September, the first 2 games of the season. And, we really don't know how Deshaun Watson's going to be. We really don't, this is the year for Deshaun Watson. And this is a year where he's going to have to prove himself, right? Because he's going to have to prove himself, in my opinion. So this is a year where, he's going to have to get off to a good start. And that's why this would be a good game to kick off the season. This is a rivalry, maybe something that is not as intense as people think about or consider, but this is nonetheless a rivalry that we expect. We really don't know what to expect because, the Browns haven't really had this full on season. Now, Jacoby Brissett did really well when he was playing, but now Deshaun Watson is that Browns future quarterback. And, now, all right, put up, shut up type scenario. And then we head home to face on the Ravens. And I feel like this is going to be the first true battle because, Lamar Jackson just got done signing that contract extension. You got Odell Beckham. You just got Zay Flowers in the draft. I mean, they're more of a completed team, and they know the direction that they're moving towards here on out. Coming up next is the Rams, and that's going to be a Monday night game. It's at home. Now, the Rams is practically the same team they were a few years ago. They're practically the same team they were last year. They had to eat up a lot of draft picks, but the reason why they were where they're at last year was because of injuries that consumed them. No one expected the Seahawks to be an exciting team to look at. But yet again, no one, they could have still been the team back there. So as I'm looking at this, the first 3 weeks, I feel confident. We have a couple good games. Next up is on the road at Tennessee and on the road against Arizona. I got nothing against Arizona. Don't know what they're capable of. Don't think highly of them. Okay, especially out of a lot of teams in the NFC because they're not promising. Tennessee, okay, right now there's really nothing going for Tennessee. They're on the verge. It's going to be an interesting year because this is a year where Tennessee may not dominate the South. This is a division right now alongside Jacksonville, who has Trevor Lawrence, who's kind of now upgraded himself, in the playoff run last year. Hopefully that boosts some confidence for years to come. You also have Houston and the Colts, who picked up younger, quarterbacks who are going to get a taste in the NFL first time this year. So Joe Burrow is going to get a chance to welcome them in. But other than that, Tennessee, who was a threat 2-3 years ago, I don't see as much as a threat now. And it shouldn't be nothing that the Cincinnati Bengals can't handle. And then they get their bye week. And I would say the only thing that I find trouble with this is that they'll get the bye week early on. Because when they come back, they're flying out to the West Coast. They're going to face the 49ers, and they have quarterback issues. And we don't know, those are still yet to be undetermined on the health status. So then we have the Buffalo Bills afterwards, which I feel like will be the second true testimonial challenge for the Bengals. And then we'll kind of get a relaxing week against the Texans before we go to Baltimore. We come home for the Steelers, which I think is another 2 great games. I would say that then it gets a little tricky because then Jacksonville, if you don't take advantage of the Ravens or the Steelers around Thanksgiving and then to kick off December against Jacksonville on the road, Jacksonville could be in their spot too. Colts, Vikings. And then the back end of the season were the Steelers, Kansas City, and then you got to face the Browns. I mean, quite frankly, I really like this season. And here's what I'm going to say about this. We think of ourselves such a good team that we expect to be in the playoffs each and every year. We don't just expect to be in the playoffs. We expect to win the division. We expect to make it to the AFC championships. And we expect now to be in the Super Bowl each and every year. And this is all because the first year we go to the Super Bowl and the expectations are. I told you guys, I will tell you guys like time and time again that, and we have a lot to prove to everybody that we can stick around and we can still hang in with the tough guys. Going to the Super Bowl for 1 year is great. Going to the Super Bowl for the next year is great. You got to be able to repeat your performances, especially off a change. And for some reason, and I don't know why, I can't quite explain it, but I have difficulties thinking that the Cincinnati Bengals are that team that can be consistent. Maybe it's because of the history of year in and year out of them being so much failures under, different, quarterbacks. But I'm looking at, when I look at the schedule, I'm like, this is a good schedule to once again prove just how good you are. And now since everything is established in Baltimore, and we still have more to see, we have still yet to see what can come out of Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh and Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. I mean, we're seeing this. Look, I mean, this is going to be a fun division. And first of all, I'm not going to go get cocky over myself. We have a lot to work on, but this is going to be a fun season because this is another proving season. I don't believe that the Bengals are as good as the Chiefs when it comes down to having, being consistent. All right. It's one of the stories that, one of the big things coming out of Philadelphia is, can they maintain themselves in the NFC East? Because that is, great. You went to the Super Bowl, you lost in the Super Bowl, and now you automatically think you have a franchise quarterback, and that this is, you got to lock them into this long-term deal, and you're like, okay, well, now we're gonna dominate the NFC East, and I think it'd be more humiliating if you don't win not only the NFC East but the NFC next year. Because name me a team that is confident, that you're confident enough that can take it to the house. I lack to find one, and that's something that I think that's going to be a project we should be looking at throughout the summertime, is to see if there is a team in the NFC period that you feel confident enough that you like their chances. I'm thinking of, if Trey Lance is healthy, you see Brock Purdy can make some sort of comeback this season. I see the San Francisco 49ers in contingency. I see Jordan Love. This is going to be the first true year that Jordan Love is going to be able to display his talent. So Green Bay makes things interesting. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones in New York. That East is probably going to be the best division that you can watch this year. But we look into, everywhere else, and I don't see nothing. I mean, I see Derek Carr going over to New Orleans. Does that mean, are the Saints a better team? Is it going to be Tampa Bay? So AFC is where it's at. And we've seen it. And I think, honestly, I think the AFC North is going to be where it's at this year. Possibly the East with Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers now going to face each other not once but twice. The good news is that Joe Burrow doesn't have to face Aaron Rodgers. And that I think that's yet again another question. I mean, I know I'm personally, if there's a team that I'm feared of the Baltimore Ravens right now. Because, we've seen so little last season due to injuries. And the Ravens could work one of two ways. Lamar Jackson could be healthy as a horse, take his team and contend to an AFC North championship. Or he could be injured and that could keep on playing a role and, being that player that he was a year ago. But the one thing that scares me is that there's no contract right now that lingers in between the relationship between Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. That's why it's so terrifying. You know that the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin always thrive and fight. He hasn't had a losing season as of yet. The Pittsburgh Steelers have always been a tough opponent no matter who's been at the plate or who's representing them at quarterback. They're going to be tough to beat this year. Deshaun Watson, we knew how good Deshaun Watson was with Houston. We're going to figure out if Cleveland finally made themselves a good deal. Among the division alone, that's it. That's what, 6 games in 6 weeks? 4 of those games are spread out in the back half of the year, right? And then we'll see teams like I said, I'm bypassing against Tennessee. I don't want to underestimate Seattle. Maybe that's a good challenge, first half of the year. San Francisco, Buffalo, okay. Jacksonville, I'll throw in there. And then Kansas City, about 4 or 5 other teams. And then they mentioned, we have a Monday night game, a Sunday night game against Buffalo. We have a Thursday night, Monday night, and then a Saturday's game. We have a game yet to be dated. But let's not mention, is the schedule, the timings really an issue? Because I don't see it. Baltimore, Thursday night football game in Baltimore will be played on November 16th. And then a week later, you'll have 10 days to rest because then they face the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. The week before that, you'll face the Texans at home at 1 p.m. So I feel like the Bengals should have the advantage of that, right? You have one on September 25th, Monday Night Football game against the Ravens, and you face the Titans. So I just don't quite, I think the only question is that you'll get 10 days between the Ravens and the Steelers on Thanksgiving week. And then you'll get Jacksonville another 10 days after that, because then you get, it's a Monday Night Football game. That's it. But I think there's going to be a lot more said to this when it comes down to what are the Bengals having to do to put themselves in good positions. And I think it comes down to say that it's obvious. You got to pick You got to win the games that you need to win. Cardinals is a must-win game. Texans a must-win game. Colts is a must-win game. But you know what? Hey, we're a good team. We're expected to be in the postseason. We're expected to be in the playoffs, right? We're expected to go to the Super Bowl and contend in the AFC Championship. So why complain when you're a good team? You're gonna want to face the better teams. See who's the best of the best, and that's how it is. Buffalo has to do it. Kansas City has to do it. Baltimore has to face us. I don't know. I want to welcome you guys back to the program. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We will get back into the rhythm of things eventually. So that is it for our program. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And until next time, you guys have yourself a wonderful day. Hey, by the way, Mercedes Monet, right? Suffered a broken ankle. Wish her the best of luck. Dakota Kai also knee injury, I believe. So wish them all best of luck. All right, until tomorrow, we'll be back tomorrow evening right here. Thank you guys for tuning into The Throne on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.